get stuck on the how to get there, right? They get stuck on like, how do I get to, XYZ? How do I get to these goals? And because they get so stuck on the how, they start believing that the how can't be accomplished. There's there's this quote that most people, so most people die at the age of 27. They're just buried at 70.
Yeah.
Right.
Welcome to the Unknown Options, the place where we explore the unknown options. Back for part 2, Mr. Bokar, the Phenom. Yesterday we talked about why life insurance is important.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, Bokar is an insurance agent, so today we're talking about how to sell and how to make a living off of insurance. Bokar, please give us a little, background on like you're a very young man, obviously very skilled too. Give us a background on like when you got an insurance agency, when you got into insurance, it started.
Of course. So once again, Will, thank you for having me back on here. I know part 1 we did, what is insurance and what is life insurance and the importance of it. And today we're just gonna talk more about how to make a living off of insurance and how to even get into the life insurance industry. So, guys, once again, my name is Bokar Diaby. I'm the owner and founder of the New Standard Financial Agency. And so a quick background of like when I got into insurance. So I got into insurance back in 2020 during the pandemic. Okay. And I kind of fell into it, right? Because the goal was, so I had just graduated with my engineering degree, moved out to Houston on January 2020, and I started making money. And I was making money. What they say about engineers who make money, that part is true. Engineers do make money, but I realized that I was getting hit with taxes, and I was like, okay. So my expenses went up, I'm getting taxed more because I'm making more. Long story short, I still felt like a broke college kid. Okay. Now I'm a numbers guy. So I started crunching some numbers, and I realized very quickly that I wasn't going to be able to achieve certain goals that I wanted with just a job. I wasn't going to be able to retire my mother or invest in real estate. Or one of my major goals is building a university back home in West Africa. I realized that I couldn't just do all of that with just a job. Like, heck, I could probably barely even get one of them done. Right.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to sacrifice any of my goals. I wanted it all. Right. So I started looking for more ways to make some more money. Okay. The first thing I started doing was investing. Right. So I started investing my money. Right. And I got really good at investing. I made about like $25,000 in the market until like one day one night I lost everything. It was bad. It was bad. I was like, okay. But even that process, I was thinking to myself, like, this feels more like of a sucking job. Like I remember I was sitting at work with my 2 computer screens, and I would have my Robinhood account in the corner, just watching my money, So then I was just like, okay. So then I was like, okay, well, my goal is to get into real estate. So I looked up how much it would cost to put a down payment on a home, and I was like, okay, I don't got that kind of money right now. Nor is my credit good enough to leverage my credit entirely. So then I thought about becoming a part-time realtor, and I started studying for my real estate license as well too at that point. But then after doing some research, I was like, because when it comes to becoming a real estate agent, you got to be able to like get up and go. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it wouldn't make sense for me to like there's no way that I would be able to do that with being a full-time engineer. So it's something I was praying about. And funny enough, someone reached out to me about insurance. Okay. And when somebody reached out to me, someone reached out to me on Instagram about insurance. And when I started talking to them and stuff like that, I never knew anything about insurance. Okay, I know yesterday we talked about is insurance a scam. I'm be honest, I thought insurance was a scam too. Shoot. Yeah. But then when I started after I spoke with her, and she's really the reason, she's really the person that put me on. Her name is Adriana Chavez. So I started doing a lot of research about the things that she was telling me about, insurance and what you can do with it and XYZ. And it really like blew my mind because I realized that this is an industry that I can really hop into, learn very quickly, but also put myself and my family in a better financial position, but also simultaneously help my community by educating them on money and finances, right? Because I wanted to do something where I don't have to screw somebody over to make a buck, right?
Facts.
But I'm also empowering and uplifting my community as well too. So when I understood insurance and all that it was, I was like, okay, great, this is it, right?
Yeah.
So I got into the insurance industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then after like 5 or 6 months, um, I like what really made me like stick was the correlation between insurance and, or I guess the lack of insurance, especially in the Black community, and the treatment of African Americans. Because around that time, I think George Floyd had passed away around that time,
Mm-hmm.
um, and and I kid you not, I came across this reel, right? Funny enough, I came across this reel on Instagram, and it was like oh you know what's yeah. I was like, oh, what's one thing that you wish that everybody knew, whatever. And then yeah, it was like a trending reel. You know those reels where like there'll be a snippet of like a trending, and then somebody else will come and like say something else. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was a white guy, and it was a white guy saying, if all African Americans had life insurance, if all African Americans had life insurance, the treatment of African Americans would be much greater, and America would take their lives a lot more seriously, and the government would set laws in place just to protect them.
Mm.
And then that's when I was just like, wait, that's very interesting. So I started doing a little bit more research on that, and that so and that's what really you know enlarged my why, right? Because I have, it's okay to have like multiple whys as far as why you do it, but
Mm-hmm.
the largest why that I have is putting African Americans in a position, because one thing I realized, especially like during that time, was that like every single time something happens to the African American to the African American community, they'll go and riot, and then they'll forget about it like in 3 to 6 months, right?
Yeah.
So, but if all African Americans had life insurance, the government, like let's say George Floyd had insurance and he
Mm-hmm.
passed away, the insurance company will pay out $1 million. They'll get
Yeah.
pissed because they're paying out pointless money. Like, yes, it's money that they were gonna have to pay out, but
Yeah.
not because somebody else killed them, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then they're gonna get pissed. Insurance is the backbone of the economy, right?
Yeah.
So they're gonna get pissed and talk to the government and be like, "Hey, look, if you don't set laws in place to protect and value the lives of African Americans, we're gonna pull our support because it's insurance companies that bail out banks. Whenever banks go bankrupt, insurance companies are
Mm-hmm.
there. Whenever the economy goes down, insurance companies are there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, by doing that, um, it will just increase the treatment of African Americans, right? Because
Yeah.
we notice that and once again, I don't like bringing like race into things, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's black and white here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
so, like it's
Yeah.
very it's very evident. So
Yeah.
like because even I'm not sure if you saw how Kyrie Irving was treated when he even spoke about the Jewish community, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Why did he get canceled? Like, what's the true reason why he got canceled? The
Yeah.
the Jewish community is the most respected community in America because they hold the most amount of life insurance. The
Mm.
reason why the Jewish community is even wealthy is because they own the most amount of life insurance. Statistically, 8 of 10 white Americans have life insurance. Statistically, 9 of 10 African Americans don't. Okay,
Mm.
so when I started like understanding these things, I was like, like this is a space where I could really make a large impact. Like it's not just going to benefit me.
Yeah.
it's a space where I can get people like imagine if people in the hood had insurance. You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
government would like go and clean up that area because they don't want they don't want
And
people dying and stuff like that. You feel me?
then the result of it too it would like because if people were still getting murdered at high rates in urban areas, if they had life insurance, that money would then be economic growth to the community because
Exactly.
now it's like people would die. And it's like you said, they forget about it because it's so and it's normalized. So it's like there's nothing that comes after it except for just grief. So you make a good
Exactly.
point. And honestly, when I was in real estate, my mom, she's a believer now in my entrepreneur ventures because I've proved myself, I guess. But before I proved myself, me and her went to an insurance event because
Yeah.
the broker that put me into real estate, he sold insurance too. And
Yeah.
we went to insurance event. That was the one time mom was like, "Yo, I'll pay for you to do this if you want to do it." Because what they were telling us, like in like
Yeah.
the pre class, I like nah, because I want to focus on real estate. But like that was a one industry, and I've been through almost everything at this point. That was a one meeting that we went through that she actually like was really interested in me doing honestly.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Insurance. Insurance is very interesting. Like even like understanding insurance will help you easily a lot more easily understand the markets, whether it's the stock market or or the real estate market. Now, at the end of the day, don't get me wrong. Real estate is the end goal. Like I have mentors who own, who run an insurance agency. Um, but they use this business to fund their other ventures, which some of them, like I have a mentor who he's really passionate about sex trafficking. So he uses his business, a part of his business, he funds like he funds organizations who go after sex trafficking, not just in America but other countries. I have mentors who own who are part owner of liquor, right? I have mentors who are part owners. Well, who are part owners of apartment complexes as well too. So don't get me wrong now. Like yes, the goal is to get into real estate and own apartment complexes, but when we're talking about a vehicle, the how, right? Because because like we were talking about a little bit earlier, a lot of people have dreams and goals, right? They get stuck on
yeah,
the how to get there, right? They get stuck on like how do I get to XYZ? How do I get to these goals? And because they get so stuck on the how, they start believing that the how can't be accomplished. There's there's this quote there's this quote that most people so most people die at the age of 27. They're just buried at 70,
yeah, yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, the first time I heard that quote, I was just like, wait, what do you mean? And it makes sense though, because as we age, like when we're kids, we dream, right?
yeah,
In my opinion, I feel like kids have the most faith because they're not scared of
yeah,
anything. When we're
yeah,
kids, we dream, oh, I want to be a doctor, I want to be an astronaut, I want to be this, I want to be that. And then as we become teenagers, we're told to be a little bit more realistic. Oh, okay, well, I want to get a degree, I want to do this, I want to do that, and then by the time we hit adulthood, and life hits us, and and knocks us down a little bit, now we're like, man, I just want to survive.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's the system that we live in. It it it's a system that doesn't want you to take risk, and the
Yes.
only way you can be
Oh yeah.
successful is by taking risks. And people don't realize that like success is only granted to risk takers, and the
Yeah, no.
more
So, and the thing is, and not me, not trying to cut you off, but on the topic of risk, though, it's like, regardless of what you do, like when you make a decision, it's a risk. When you choose to not make a decision, it's still a risk, right?
yeah,
So, right. In my opinion, I feel like the ones who are choosing to not do anything, they're taking the greatest risk because the thing about it is you are the way that I think about things is this, because we all have fear. I feel like all human beings have fears.
yeah,
All human beings, think about things, have gone through, not the same thing, but no one's situation is just unique to them, right?
Yeah.
So with that being said, you already, the way that I process with myself is this: you already know what your life looks like if you don't do anything and you don't like
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's like you already know and you're not content, right? But
Yeah.
what you don't know is what your life could be if you actually take the risk, if you actually try, if you actually put forth an effort and different things like that.
Bro, that's such a good point. I tell my wife this all the time and she hates it. I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, like your problems are not unique to you. Like we're humans, we're all living different experiences, but like the problems are unique. Like poverty, that's a problem a lot of people have. You know what I mean? They might experience it in different areas of the world, but it's a problem. Like sex trafficking. You know what I mean? Like these issues are the same. But it's crazy. But okay, let's continue.
Oh
What
yeah.
what qualities make a successful insurance agent?
You said what qualities?
Yeah.
So it's integrity is big. Because if you don't, I mean, in my opinion, if you don't have integrity in anything, then you're not going to get too far. The reason why I say integrity is because you got to be willing to do what's best for the client. Whenever you're willing to do what's best for the client, it always benefits you. So I say so. I'll tell you a story with that. So I had a client. Funny enough, the way that I got a client is so at our insurance office. Once a month we do an event called BYOB, bring your own business, where we invite other business owners, right? We allow them to network, and then we take about like we let them do like a 30-second elevator pitch on who they are, what they do, and stuff like that. And then we take about like 10-20 minutes to educate them on money and finances. And then we let them continue networking, right? And there was a client who owned a vending machine, a business. Well, no, not a client. A business owner who owned a vending machine, a business. So long story short, she already knew about insurance. She actually had insurance policies and stuff like that. And I asked her, okay, would you like for me to take a second look? And she said, yeah, sure. So I took a second look. Long story short, her policies for her and her son were structured incorrectly. It was
Mhm.
structured so bad to the point where her policy would lapse when she's like, so she's 59 now. Her policies would lapse when she's 80 years old. By the time she's 80, and she's very healthy. Like she's a very healthy woman. Like she's 59, but she looks like she's like third to 35. And then
Mhm.
her son, who's 19, she's funding a policy for him. His policy will lapse at the age of 60 or 65.
Mhm.
So, long story short, she was still in the 180 window period to restructure it. And once again, I'm not getting commission off of this, right?
Yeah.
Because it's already been, but I already knew why the insurance agent structured it like that, because to benefit them in their pockets. So I sat down
Yeah.
with the insurance agent. I told them, hey, based off of what the client said, this is not going to help. Great.
Mhm.
The insurance agent got mad, but she eventually changed things up. But long story short, the the client was like, "Hey, can you be my new insurance agent?" Then she wrote over $100,000 that she had sitting in her bank account, from her bank account to an annuity, because I broke down what an annuity is. And then she also sent me referrals to her family, and her other kids, right? So the
Mhm.
reason why I say integrity is because I wasn't doing that for a buck. I was doing that because like I saw that by the time she's 80 years old, she's gonna be screwed, and she's probably still gonna be alive.
Yeah.
She won't know until she's 80. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you lean with integrity, that's big. That's
Mhm.
one. Two, I would say hunger. Okay. And this is not just for insurance, but entrepreneurship in general, or becoming successful in general, and as well, like being hungry enough to have the willingness to excuse me, being hungry enough to have the willingness to want to master, master insurance. I tell everyone that works with me, I tell them all the time, learning insurance is the easy part, right?
Mhm.
It'll take you like 6 months to a year to learn 90% of insurance, right?
Mhm.
What's going to be an ongoing skill set is learning how to run a business and learning how to speak to people as well, right? But having the willingness to actually want to do those things is big. And then the third thing I'll say is coachability. Okay. The reason why I say coachability is big is because a lot of people will they we live in a society where how do I explain it? Um, we live in a society where people think that they got to do everything on their own. Because that's what we're taught in school. Like, oh, you're not supposed to plagiarize.
Yeah.
When you're in class and stuff like that. Well, in the real world, you collaborate on projects, especially on. You know what I mean? So
Man.
it's very weird.
Yeah.
It's very weird stuff.
Yeah.
But because we're taught that, a lot of people think that it falls on them. Well, so in my opinion, I don't think self-made, like whenever you hear like self-made this, self-made millionaire, stuff like that, like self-made, it doesn't exist, right? Because there's typically people around you that have helped you in one way, shape, or another, get you to where you want to go.
Definitely.
So there's no self-made anything. You need a team. To scale a business, you need a team.
Yeah.
So when it comes to coachability, like being willing to listen to your mentor. Like if your mentor says, "Hey, don't do it like that," you might not. It might not be a good thing. But then you're like, you know what? I think I might know more than my mentor, even though my mentor makes a lot more money than me. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Or my mentor has been in the industry for a longer time than me. Then that's where people like start to screw up, and they get burned whenever it's in the insurance industry, like in general, but in the insurance industry, and then because they got burned and they got hurt in entrepreneurship, um, now they're a little bit hesitant to get up, dust things off and try again.
Definitely. I agree. And like I mean, obviously the insurance sales is sales, and like those three qualities are really qualities that can translate to any sales industry and be professional, and you can be successful. Like I literally got that's how I got the job I most recently got. I interviewed with some high end salespeople, and literally one of their critiques was like, "We gave you criticism, and you responded to it and said you would grow from it. So you
Exactly.
demonstrated coachability." He said I demonstrated coachability in the interview. So it's like that's spot on. Like it's spot on. Like you said, people tend to think, oh, the more I know about like real estate or more I know about insurance or the more I know about like SaaS, is I'll be a better seller. No, it's really just like you said, being good with people, being coachable, and being hungry. That's literally all it comes down to. Let's say we have young hungry coachable woman named Lisa. She saw this interview. She wants to sell life insurance. Like what's the process of her getting started to get to where you're at currently?
So okay, so the process to get that started. And number one, you got to ask yourself, hey, do I want to work for somebody else? Okay, so do I want to work for a company or do I want to work with companies? Right.
Mm,
Um, Now, the reason why those two might be different is because if you work for a company, like for example, let's say I worked for AIG. So AIG is a huge services a company, and they're big in life insurance as well too. Let's say I worked for AIG, right? If I worked for AIG, a couple things might happen. They're probably going to give me leads, right? So they're going to end up giving me clients. Sometimes they do, sometimes they won't. It depends. Like some a company you work for, they'll still say, hey, you got to get your own leads, whatever.
mm,
Um, But one thing they will do for a fact is when let's say that you choose to walk away. So let's say you're like, you know what, I don't think life insurance is for me or not. All the book of business that you've accumulated throughout the months or years, they keep that because you work for them, right? So that's that. You might get residuals, but once again, once that book of business is gone, then it's gone.
Yeah.
The other thing is, you'll 9 times out of 10, you'll never get a chance to own a piece of the company, right? So that's one thing. Now, working now.
Before you go into the next part, are there any pros of working for the company, you think?
Yeah. So pros for working for a company is obviously like they'll give you the business, right?
True. True.
Like one that's one of the biggest pros. The question you always got to ask though is, because whenever a company gives you something, they're taking something on the back end, right?
That's good.
So that's a question that you always got to ask yourself, like is that worth it to you or not, right?
Yeah.
To me personally, it wasn't. So I went the route of working with a company. So I work with a brokerage. So I'm a 1099 contract with a brokerage. What all of 1099 means is that, long story short, I run my own business under a brokerage. That's really all that means. So I get access to their marketing. I get access to their corporate office back end support. I get I get access to all of the notable insurance companies that they work with and have contracts with, and all of that. All of that is automatic. So long story short, I have access to over 400 insurance key carriers as well too. To me that was a good deal. On top of that, I own my own book of business. So although they don't provide me leads, right? They do not provide me leads. I gotta go and get business myself, right? So now, although I gotta get business myself, well, let's be honest here. So whenever someone starts like a hair salon, right? I'm gonna give like a different options. Whenever someone starts a hair salon or like opens up a hair salon, how do they get business? Does someone give them business, or do they gotta like go out and get their own business?
You gotta go get it.
You gotta go get it, right? Who typically in a hair salon? Who typically makes the most money? The owner of the hair salon or the people that work in the hair salon?
The owner.
The owner, right? So, and you can apply that same question to everything else. Like, if you start a business in marketing, I don't know, like regardless of, oh yeah, like if your business is, oh, I'm gonna help people with their branding and stuff like that. Is there like is there like a place where you can get that is there a place where you can get business, or do you gotta like go out and find it? You gotta go out and find it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, and one thing I liked is I was taught all of that. I was taught how to use social media. I was taught how to, speak to people the right way, right? I was given these mentors that are very successful in what they do, and they've been in this industry for like over like my mentor, our executive broker, his name is Chris Hart. He runs the office that we have in Maryland. Has been in the insurance industry for over 9 years now. He makes over 700,000 a year, right?
Ish.
And he's taught me all of it, everything. Like even
Yeah.
the approach that I take. He
Yeah.
like when I talked about integrity earlier. He told me, "Hey, you always want to put clients first," because he told me about the mistakes of when he didn't put clients first. Like when I talked about how I helped that one client with the bad insurance agent, and I pretty much like accidentally snagged her. Like that wasn't my intention, but because I
Yeah.
actually good business. But he's the one who taught me that. He taught me that because he was on the other end. He got a client snagged from him because he was not the best insurance agent, right?
Mm.
So learning from his mistakes, as well as many other mentors as well too. That's what I have access to. So and then also I own my own book of business as well too. So let's say I chose to sell one policy, and then I never sell any other policies, and then let's say I choose to get out of the insurance industry. I still own my own book of business, right? So
Yeah.
I'll still get the residuals off of that one policy. So that's what I saw in it for me, because there's social media out here to leverage at the end of the day.
Yeah.
There's networking events, there's going out in the community and speaking to others and things like that, like so, and these are things that, yes, at the end of the day, it was a slow, it was a grind to get it up and running. I mean, it's still a bit of a grind to get it up and running,
Yeah.
but it's a lot more easier now in my year 3 than it was like when I first started, which is which is every, how everything is set up. So, long story short, once you figure out which route you want to go, right? Cool. Then next, is getting your insurance license, right? Your life license in insurance. So you gotta if you're going the work for a company route, they're probably going to require you to pass your exam before you work with them.
Mm.
If you go with working with a brokerage route, they're probably going to have an in-house licensing coordinator that helps all of the agents with that process,
Mhm.
right? So, and yeah, so after you get a license, because it's illegal to make money in insurance without having a license. Once you have that, then honestly, you're good to go at that point.
How tough is like the licensing?
The licensing, man, the licensing is like the easiest thing in the world. It
Really?
was the easiest. Oh my god! So okay, you know what? So I say that from a space where, because I'm not so I have my engineering degree, right?
Yeah.
So but however, I'm the kind of person who I'm so bad with tests.
Yeah.
I don't like taking tests. Yeah, I don't like taking exams that I don't know how to study for, right?
Mm. Okay.
So, like for example, like when I was back in school, I made friends with people who took certain classes so I can get their old exams, kind of get a good understanding of how to study.
Yeah.
So with insurance, it was really easy because they have practice exams that you can take. If you get at least an 80 on the practice exam, then you're going to pass the real exam, because the real exam you need at least a 70%. Okay.
Mm.
I've heard from real estate agents that is easier than the real estate exam.
Oh
It's
man.
it's much less easier than any nursing exam or anything like that. Like it's a very easy and simple exam. And then once you have it, the beauty of it is, once you have it, you don't ever have to take it again. You just got to make sure like you maintain it by doing like continuing education credits and stuff like that. But once you have it, you can actually buy your license in other states. You don't have to take the exam. So, like for example, in real estate, if you want your real estate license in North Carolina and South Carolina, you got to take both the North Carolina test and the South Carolina test. With
Yeah.
life insurance, you just take it in North Carolina, in the state that you reside in. So I live in North Carolina, so I took it in North Carolina, and then now I just buy my license in every other state. So I have my license in 30 states, but I only took the exam one time.
What? Is it expensive to buy in different states, or is it kind of affordable?
So it's no, so it's expensive. Well, I'm not gonna say expensive. The price is different in different states, right? So to
Hmm.
get your license in the state of California is $255,
Okay.
right? California is one of the most expensive states. To get your license in the state of Virginia is $15. You
Wow. Okay.
see, so
Yeah.
it varies. You see what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
I know that there's two U.S. territories that you can get a license in. So like if you want to get a license in the Virgin Islands, it's about like $500, right? To get a
Hmm.
license in Puerto Rico, because that's a U.S. territory as well. To get a license in Puerto Rico, it's $1,000. But Puerto Rico is actually the most expensive. And so you're looking at, depending on what state you live in, you're looking at somewhere between 15 and maybe $300, right? But in my opinion, perspective wise, that's cheaper than most boot camps.
Yeah.
That's cheaper than that's cheaper than a lot of things, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean to
Oh,
get, because yeah, it's because I paid what, like $150 total between like the study courses and the exam and the application and stuff like that. So $150, and for the state of North Carolina, and I saw an ROI like within the first month. Yeah, within my first month of having it. So like my first check in insurance was it was like what, it was like $500. And I
easy.
was like, okay, this is cool, you know.
Easy.
So yeah,
People. I feel like a lot of, I don't want to generalize everybody, but I feel like a lot of people don't understand ROI, like and they're, I don't know, they're unwilling to take risk. But what are, so I mean, obviously insurance is like you're would you say you're a salesperson?
no, I'm not.
It's a broker.
Yeah, no. So the reason why I would say I'm not a salesperson. So okay, the reason why I don't consider myself a salesperson is because what most people think sales is persuading other people to do things. I don't
Okay,
persuade anybody. Like, I'm
true.
not sitting there putting a gun to anybody's head, hey, buy this insurance policy. No. I
Facts.
believe in an educated self, right? If you educate, if you educate someone based off, yeah, if you educate someone and share with them based off of the things you told me you wanted, this is how this can benefit you. Do you want it or not? Most people are gonna
Facts.
say yes. Like
Yeah.
it's just a no brainer. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's like, oh, this actually makes a lot of sense. You
Yeah.
know. So when when because I used to I used to hate the idea of sales.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, oh, I hate sales. Like that's like a reoccurring thing. Oh, I hate sales. I don't like sales. And it's funny because the people who sell themselves on the idea that they don't like sales are the best salesmen.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
because they sell, but once you realize that sales, like the true definition of sales, is in everything, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, for example, whenever you go to a job interview, you're selling yourself, right?
Fact.
That sells, right? Whenever you have a job, to maintain that job, you're selling yourself based off of your performance.
Facts.
Whenever you meet, a girl or a guy, you want to put on a good first impression. You're selling yourself. You're selling them a dream, whether it's a good dream or a bad dream. That's that's besides the point. But you're selling them a
Facts.
dream. Whenever you get married, whenever you propose, you're selling your spouse a dream. Or you're selling your spouse like, hey, you should bet on me. I got you. You get what I mean? So yeah,
It's
yes,
sales gets a bad rap. It's
it
it's
does.
it's because, but it's there's some industries where like bad practitioners get overinflated. So obviously bad sales, like they think of car salesmen. Oh, like they're aggressive and they do this, but it's like there's some industries where you never hear of the bad people. Like let's just say analysts. I'm like in sales, if you're bad at your job, you're not gonna be making any money. But like if you're like an analyst, you're bad at a job, you might lose your job, but like there's no real metrics to measure performance. Even like a cop or firefighter, you can't really measure your performance. Like maybe your peers know, oh, he's good at his job, bad at his job, but like
Yeah.
the outside people don't know. But if you're in sales, if you're not making sales, you could have a good mind, a good person, but you're not going to be good at the job. You know what I mean? So it's like
Oh no, no,
it's
for sure. Oh yeah, no, for sure. And and I think the idea of like, so I think it's a two step thing. One, sales has a bad rep,
yeah,
right? For sure. But one thing that people need to understand is that there's bad apples in everything, in every industry,
facts.
right? There's even like people can't say that at the company that they work at right now. that everybody's good there. No, no, there's people that are bad apples,
Yeah.
right? So it's all about the question you got to ask yourself is, do I have a good heart? If you have a good heart, okay,
Mm,
great, let's go. Because you already know yourself. You know yourself. You can't control everybody else, but you know yourself. You know what you're gonna do, right?
facts.
You know that you're not gonna screw anybody over. You know that you're not gonna, try to, put someone in a bad situation that's not gonna benefit them just because you want to make some money off of them, right?
Facts.
So that's one. Two, the other thing is that the reason why sales has a bad rep is because once again it goes back to the whole like risk thing.
Yeah.
People feel like they get anxiety when it comes to you know you know security from a job, right?
Yeah.
And once again, I'm not gonna say jobs are bad, right? But you typically have the most control of your life when you can control your income,
Hmm. Yeah.
right? Because a company can choose to lay you off like that. Like it could
Yeah.
be that simple. You could look at somebody the wrong way, they'll lay you off. The
Yeah.
company won't be doing good, they'll lay you off.
Yeah.
You might not be the right person for a promotion, so you won't get promoted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if if something happens in your family where you got to take some time off, your job is gonna, they might give you some time off, but they're gonna wonder, okay, when are you coming? When are you coming back to work? You know what I mean?
Facts. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like, there's no, how do I explain it? You can't get too comfortable at a
Yeah.
job, right?
There's no freedom.
Exactly. And if you look at society, the people that are entrepreneurs and that are in quote unquote like sales related roles tend to make the most, right? Like for example, like in terms of entrepreneurship, let's take a look at athletes. Athletes, in my opinion, are entrepreneurs because they get paid based off of their performance.
Mm,
It's not about who looks the best or anything like that. No, it's about your performance. If you're not good, you're not making it to the NBA. You're not making it to the NFL.
facts.
If if you're not good in a long for a long period of time, you're not going to be in the NFL or the NBA for a very long time because
Facts.
it's all performance based. That's entrepreneurship because they don't get paid when they're working out. They
Yeah.
don't get paid, for what they choose to do in the off season. No, no, they get paid for what people see they do, which is when they perform. They don't get paid for all of that other extra stuff. They don't.
I was gonna highlight that. I'm like, people don't realize like salespeople, entrepreneurs in general, like the amounts of work that they put in, like into like their craft. Like
Yeah,
I spent tens of thousands of dollars just on like conferences stuff like that, and it's like I feel like salespeople are some of the most like dedicated professionals, like more so than almost any other industry because like they're so when you really face a good salesperson, and I say face when you meet a good salesperson, you don't know you're being sold to because they're
right.
that refined at their craft that it's like
That's
almost an
facts.
art. It's an art.
That's facts. No, that's facts. And and it's like you're gonna have those people that might be watching that might end up watching this, and they're gonna be like, oh well, like they might say, okay, well, yeah, you guys are talking about money. Well, I don't need a lot of money. Or ooh, I'm not a material person. Well, let's unpack that for a second. What exactly? Because me personally, I don't really believe in the idea of materialism, right? I know
Mm.
why, because most people tend to call things materialistic when they can't afford it, right? It's always no,
Facts.
no. I'm just being honest, right?
Yeah.
Because like example, like for example, you have a lot of shoes, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, right. Yeah, yeah, all right. So if we go and look in your closet, and I'm using shoes because most people, whether it's a man or a woman, they own a good amount of shoes, right?
Yeah.
So you own a lot of shoes, right? If someone from a third world country looks at your closet, they're gonna be like, "Oh, well, you're materialistic."
Facts. Yeah.
Why? Because they come from a third world country, they can't afford those shoes. But then to you, you're like, "No, I'm not. They're just shoes."
Yeah.
Right?
That's like shoes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Right. So to me, it's like God created all of this, right? To God, a Lamborghini and a Ferrari and a mansion is just a house and a car.
Facts. Now you're
right?
right.
So and I don't think that God put us on this earth. I don't think God put us on this earth at all to struggle or anything like that. He meant for us to be wealthy because typically when you have more funds, you have more money. One, you can breathe a little bit more. You're a little bit more comfortable, but then also two, you're able to now start thinking about other people as well
Facts.
and start helping out other people as well too. You
Facts.
know, it's just one of those. It's just one of those things. Like, yeah, you might not need too much money yet, but for one, what is too much money? Like, what is too much money for you? Okay, great. So, what amount of money do you need that will make you comfortable? 100K. Okay, great. Once you make 100K, now what's next? Okay, will you still be comfortable with 100K when you get married, when you have kids? No. Okay. So that's
Mhm.
250K. Okay, great. So now once you make that, now what? Okay, so let's say like for example, I want to retire my mom. Okay, great. Will that 250K will that be enough for you to retire mom? No. Okay, great. And that's when you start thinking about other individuals. Okay, well you want your kids to go to a better school, right? You might want your kids to go to a private school. You need more money for that? Yeah, you do. Okay.
Facts.
Do you want to start some philanthropy? Yeah. Okay, great. Do you think you're gonna need more money for that? Yeah.
Facts.
So it's like the idea of money is not it's not really about you. But when people get out of that spot where they're not focused on money about them anymore because they're in a more comfortable spot, now that's when they'll start to realize. But the challenge is a lot of people are in that phase of life where they're looking to survive. You
Facts.
know what I mean?
People are inherently lazy. I'll never forget. Like I worked with a rep, and he could have he essentially like his base was pretty high. He could make a lot of money. I worked at a top tech company, and he was a worst rep on the team. Like he was terrible at the job. Like honestly, and he was telling me one day because me and him would meet every single week, and he was like, "Hey, Will," he was like, "Yeah, the only reason I work this job is so I can provide for my family and for my wife and my kids. I can give them a better life." And in my head, because like I'm not confrontational and like on a job because a job I don't really care. In my head, I was like, well, you would think that if this dude really wanted to provide for his family, he would be the hardest worker and the best
Right.
top earner,
Right.
but he wasn't. So he was trying to he was just kind of lying to himself internally, like saying like, "Oh, like I want this stuff," but he wasn't willing to put the actions in to really get that outcome. This is
Exactly.
lazy.
Oh, yeah. And at the end of that, I wouldn't. So I used to say that a lot of people are lazy, yes, but I want to say within the past 6 months, I realized it's not really laziness; it's really lack of clarity. Okay, so
Mm,
there's this quote from this book. I forgot which book it was, but it pretty much says that motivation is temporary, clarity is forever. Okay.
mm,
So I feel like a lot of people lack clarity on what they really want, why they want it, so that they can figure out the how am I gonna get it.
mm. I like
That's
that.
that's the biggest thing, right? Because like for example, me, at the time when I got started in insurance, I knew what I wanted. I just didn't know the how, but I knew what I wanted and I knew why I wanted it. I just didn't know the how.
Facts.
But over time, the how became very clear, right?
Mm,
Because I can tell you exactly how I'm leveraging insurance to fund my current lifestyle, but then also my future lifestyle and goals. I can tell you
facts.
exactly what the plan is. The plan is making money in insurance, retiring myself, retiring my mother. Um, right around like when I'm generating like $300,000 in insurance. Well, I have my own insurance policies that I'm putting money in is growing tax free. I'm gonna leverage those to buy real estate. Okay. Um, and then I'm going to leverage the cash flow that I have to buy real estate as well too, right?
Yeah.
Because insurance is a vehicle, right?
Yeah.
Insurance to me is a vehicle. Like, whenever people ask me, "Oh, why did you choose insurance of all things?" Am I asked? Well, yeah. So what I say is, well, okay. So the the guy who invented the porta potty, right? You really think the porta potty was his vision, his dream and goals? Nah,
Yeah.
it was a vehicle. He saw a problem, he
Facts.
had the solution. He did it. And that was it. Even for example, Elon Musk. If people actually research Elon Musk, they'll realize that he didn't start with Tesla and SpaceX and Twitter.
Yeah.
He started with PayPal. He's a
Facts.
co-founder of PayPal, which has nothing to do with Tesla or SpaceX or any of that, because that's in finances,
Yeah.
right? But he built himself. He learned how to run a company. He built his network. He built his cash flow, built his net worth, sold his part of the company, and that's what he used to fund Tesla and SpaceX, which is his true passions.
Facts. But that's one reason why a lot of people won't ever make it is because they're not willing to work in something that's not their passion to
Oh
earn
yes.
income
Oh
to
yes.
it's let that be our
Yeah,
last
yeah.
exit question.
I
What do
got
you
you.
say to a high schooler or a college kid that, hey, like my passion is art, should I go into art and follow that dream, or should I take a career like a comp side senior not network engineer, maybe like a software engineer for like Netflix?
I got you. So, you should never go for your passion. Okay, if you go for your passion, you're gonna most of the time, like 9 times out of 10 times, you're gonna end up very disappointed. You should go the route that will make you the most amount of money so that you can live out your passion to the fullest, to like the fullest extent. We have people who go down the medical route or become lawyers, and once they get to the actual profession, because they go into it with the idea, oh, I can help this demographic, or I can help individuals and stuff like that, right? When a doctor becomes a doctor, they realize, oh, it's a lot more regulated than I realized. And now they start to realize, oh, I gotta sacrifice a lot of things just to provide free services, right? Right? Help out a certain demographic the way that I want to, right? Yeah. But that's because they chased passion, right? If they assume that they can do do those things, like for example, Doctor Without Borders, right? But so for those who don't know, Doctors Without Borders is like a group of doctors that are able to provide free services. The reason why those doctors are able to provide free services is because on the back end, in the background, they have a business that's paying them. So
Mhm.
it covers their lifestyle, covers their expenses and things like that. So with that being said, going back to, though, like, you shouldn't major in art. If your passion is art, you shouldn't major in art. What you should do is major in something that's going to make you money and free up your time so that you could do your art however which way you would like, and it doesn't mess with your comfort and your family's comfort.
I agree. And what my input is, when you go into a passion, it's going to become a job. So you're not going to love it the
Oh
same.
yeah.
Like it's
Oh yeah, yeah, that's
I did it
facts.
with clothing. Like I love clothing. I love fashion. I started two businesses with it, and it quickly became a job. And it's not passion anymore. And
Yeah.
my wife's little sister did it with art, and she was like she loves art, and she was doing it. She started a little business, and then she's only I think 17, and she was like, man. She stopped the business. She was like, I asked my wife why she stopped it. She was like, it became too hectic because she stopped loving it. So like
Yeah,
your past, like you said, the doctors too, like it's gonna fade out very quickly, very quickly.
exactly. Exactly. No, no, well, and it's one of those things that people don't entirely realize, because in all honesty, part of the reason why I got into civil engineering is, one, yes, of course, the money, But also too, the goal was to build a university back home in West Africa. Well, with civil engineers, they're the ones who lead that effort.
Mhm.
But when I got to the space where I realized, oh, I don't have to be the one who designs everything and builds everything. I just got to have the money to pay the people to do it. That's when
Facts.
I was like, oh, okay, this is this, like this makes a lot more sense.
Facts.
Because most of the time, people who make large impacts, they're not the ones who know it. Like Elon Musk, he doesn't know how to build a Tesla.
Yeah.
He just hires people that know how to build a Tesla and make it, and improve it a lot, a lot more over time.
Facts. It's a famous video of like Steve Jobs. I think it was the first iPhone, and they were asking him questions and they were like about like developing it, and he didn't answer it. It was like Steve Jobs, like the one of the greatest CEOs of all time, didn't even know how to build it or not build it, but like he didn't know like the intricacies of an iPhone. And it's like you said, that's literally that's when I came to realization. I was like, I want to know everything about real estate, everything like that. But it's like at the end of the day, if you make enough money, you can do whatever you want. You can buy businesses, sell them, run them, operate. It's all it comes down to is money at the end of the day.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's yeah, like to me, that's what makes sense.
It's the truth. Man, this has been a great episode, man. It's from insurance to sales to just honestly just motivation. Give people again, if they didn't watch the last video, a shout out to you. If they want to work with you, or as in like being a client, or as in a partner in the insurance business too.
Of course, of course. So if you're someone who's looking into learning a little bit more about insurance, and how it could benefit you, or just like learning about it in general, and all of the intricacies to where you can build tax free wealth, or how you can benefit from insurance while you're alive. But also, if you're someone who is looking to make extra income, you might be frustrated at your job. You might be frustrated with not understanding the how you're going to get somewhere. You can reach out to me as well too. We specialize in helping people develop new skill sets in order to really live the life and dreams that they would like to. So from a client aspect, you can reach out to me from a client and business aspect. You can reach out to me on my social media on my social media platforms, whether it's on TikTok and Instagram. It's Bokar Diaby underscore. So BOKAR, D as in dog, IAB as in boy, Y underscore. My Facebook, which is Bokar Diaby, and my YouTube channel is the New Standard Financial. Okay. Um, but yeah. So you can, yeah. So Instagram and TikTok might be the best ones, but you can reach out to me there. Will and I'll hook you up with a quick free consultation phone call to like just I figure out how best we how best me and my team can really bring value to you and what you're looking for.
Definitely, man. And I'll have it all in the thumbnail. Once again, great having you on. You're gonna be back. I don't know when, but you're definitely gonna be back again. But
Of course, of
I
course.
appreciate you. Everyone comment, like, and subscribe. Do the same to Bokar's channel as well. Y'all have a nice night.